Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Podcast. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for making TeacherCast your home for professional development. Today, we're going to be talking all about Minecraft and the Minecraft Education Edition, which is absolutely taking over classrooms across the world. We have a fantastic developer from Microsoft itself coming on the show, and also an MIE from New Jersey who is a Minecraft mentor to tell us all about the great things that he's doing with Minecraft. But first, I want to share with you guys some of the neat things that have been happening in the world of Microsoft Education. We recently had the Skype-a-thon, a 2-day celebration of connecting different classrooms. They had a goal to create classroom support for over 3 million miles worth of Skyping. And at last time I saw, they broke 9.5 million miles, almost 10 million miles of Skyping back and forth, video conferencing, classes connecting with each other. We're going to talk a little bit about that with Steve today. And I just got to say out there, thank you guys so much for checking all that stuff out and connecting your classrooms. We had an amazing time the last couple days. And if you've been a subscriber of our Microsoft Innovative Educator Spotlight series, we've been having some great times talking with some MIEs about what they've been doing in their classrooms. There's, of course, several great ways that you can connect with this show and all of our shows featuring Microsoft Education. We love it when you find us on Twitter at TeacherCast. Leave us a voice message over at teachercast.net/voicemail. Email us at feedback@teachercast.net. And of course, you can subscribe to this and all of our shows over on teachercast.net/audio and teachercast.net/video. And let me bring in a Microsoft Innovative Educator to talk a little bit about not only what he did with Skype, but how he's being transformed by Microsoft and Minecraft to make his kids better. Steve Isaacs, welcome back to the show. How are things with you, my friend? How are things going in New Jersey?
Awesome. It's been really a great week. You had mentioned Skype-a-thon, and we had just nonstop. Just about every class session that I teach, we had somebody special Skyping in over the last 2 days, including we started it off. It was great, Neal. We had Deirdre and Vu and Daniel, one of the developers at the Mojang office in Stockholm, join us to kick things off, and that was awesome. It was really neat to talk to Daniel and just get his perspective on the growth of the Pocket Edition and the feature parity and all sorts of things that they do over there that are just awesome. We also had Adam Clark, otherwise known as Wizard Keen, join my class, and he talked about things like Wonder Quest, which he's one of the stars of and producers of, and on a different session, Dragnaz came and joined us and shared a lot about his role in a lot of the work that he does with Adam and Blockworks and some other neat areas, also in Minecraft. And if you've ever seen some of the work Dragnaz does with Redstone and command blocks and things, it was really neat for my kids to kind of get to see what's possible. And it was kind of neat too, because throughout the week, we kept hearing the term professional Minecraft builder come up. And I think for my kids, just for myself too, I mean, just hearing that and being, it kind of, lights a light bulb of like, wow, you mean I could be a professional Minecraft builder?
Now, Steve, you're getting ahead of yourself here. Okay,
No, not me. I cannot be. I mean, my kids can be. So I wouldn't even go there. But the thought that one of my kids could someday do that would be pretty great.
Now, Steve, you're throwing out a lot of words here, and I want to make sure that we're starting on an equal footing here, because you threw out a lot of words there. I don't know what you're talking about yet. So before we get into some of the deep things here with Minecraft, why don't you introduce our guest from Microsoft?
Absolutely. So Neal Manegold is here with us tonight, and Neal is on the Minecraft Education team. I believe title might be product director.
I'm waiting to see what you come up with.
Yeah, product director, god of Minecraft and education. I forget. I've heard many.
Senior manager, I believe, is my official title.
Okay.
Neal, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you very much for having me. I'm used to introducing Steve, so hearing the reverse is is quite a role reversal. But no, it's great to join the two of you and talk Minecraft for learning, especially on the heels of the Skype-a-thon. It was great to be on the other side of that and be able to join a few classrooms over the past few days and talk to them about what I do and what our team works on. And just seeing the Twitter flood of the connections that are being made across countries and across continents is just, it's so cool. I wish it wasn't a Skype-a-thon and it was just kind of a consistent thing that was part of teacher practice, but I know we'll get there someday. And so having it be amplified at least once a year is pretty amazing to watch that technology take off.
I certainly enjoyed watching not only the Skype-a-thon hashtag, but also all the interactivity that's been going on. If you're out there and you're looking to connect with great educators, there's really only one place to go, and that's the Microsoft Education Center, which you can find over at education.microsoft.com. There are some amazing resources there. Connect with classes, even though that the Skype-a-thon is over, right, Steve? You can still reach out and find other classrooms and other experts to Skype with.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I like Neal said, I think it should be, and I think it is, the intention is for it to be ongoing, but I think like Neal mentioned, with amplifying it over these 2 days kind of raises awareness and brings it to the surface. But that site is intended for people to, all the time to just connect with, whether it be another classroom or an industry professional and that sort of thing.
So let's take this topic really from the beginning here. Am I saying this correctly? Is it Minecraft or Mindcraft? Because that's always the first question, right?
Yeah, that is. Which did you say first, Jeff?
Is it? I don't remember.
It's which one is it, Neal? Again, I think it's mine with an E. Okay.
Definitely mine with an E. And it is Minecraft in all of its flavors, as Steve knows full well. It is Minecraft Pocket Edition, Minecraft Education Edition, Windows 10 Edition Beta, Xbox, PlayStation, Wii U. There's so many flavors of the game to even keep track of.
And
Go ahead.
It's grown a lot. Can we do maybe the 2-minute condensed history of Minecraft here? How did it start? Where did it get started? Could someone fill us in on how did we get this far?
Yeah, so started in Sweden by one person and then a small group, building a game and sending it out for free to the community to see if there was any interest. There was obviously a little bit of interest, and it grows substantially over the past, 5-6 years at this point. At this juncture, our rough estimates are somewhere around 110 million copies sold of the game. Some of the most popular YouTube channels, number one across pretty much every app store you could think of. And it really is part of the students' age generation lexicon, which is, I think, why it has such an interesting impact in education. Is it's a language that students already speak. And so the growth of the game and how much it permeates globally, as not only a game platform for students to play, but also a creative platform for young people to express themselves, that's really been the most interesting thing for me from an education lens. Is it can not only be used as a game, it can not only be used by teaching and learning, but it can also, as students grow, and Steve does a lot of this, I know, with his students, is also as a game making platform and also as a media creation platform, which is pretty cool. I mean, I was teaching 5-6 years ago, and it was so cost prohibitive to think about some of the tools to have my students experiment with architecture and media design, and if they wanted to make their own living comic strips or stop motion animation and things like that. And you get a lot of that for free with technology embedded into your device and with Minecraft. And so watching what students can create when we don't put those guardrails in front of them has been the best part of the journey for me.
So let's see if we can put together where Minecraft is in these categories, because next week, many of us are out there celebrating Computer Science Education Week, and many of us are going over to places like code.org, and they're seeing all these different activities, one of which is a Minecraft activity. Where would you throw Minecraft? Is it a coding platform? Is it a programming platform? Is it multiple categories? Steve, how would you classify what Minecraft absolutely is if you were talking to a complete newbie like myself?
Well, the thing I love about it is, from a scaffolding in education standpoint, it's so scalable. So you start with young kids, right? And young kids are learning. They're building, they're watching, they're learning, and then they start to evolve into their skill set with the game, and then they start to see things that other people are doing, and they want to do those things. So their knowledge grows, and the game is incredibly deep in that you can get to a level where you're dealing with, I had thrown some terms out before, I mentioned redstone and command blocks and things like that. So redstone takes you to this point of like engineering and automation where you're creating working systems in the game. So that brings us to that computational thinking and computer science level. My kids are creating games within the game, so they need to be doing those kinds of things. They need to be figuring out how to do that. So it starts to get to that place. But what I love is that it's so broad, and that it seems to me from what I've seen that it's so organic in the way that evolution occurs. Even with the kids I teach 8th graders and 7th graders, and some of them that start in the game, they might be doing more of the building as part of a team because that's the part they kind of learn initially. And then they start to grow into the game more as well. So it hits so many of those marks, which is just so neat about this, is that, and in terms of code.org and the Hour of Code, there are a couple of Minecraft themed activities in code.org that get you into the Minecraft world, experiencing, what the game is like, and doing the coding in that format that's becoming, comfortable and familiar, where, educators can jump into code.org and have their kids do an activity, even if they're not having them, actually playing, the game, in its full
So
extent.
If a teacher takes a kid over to code.org, do they have to install Minecraft, or is it just so they can just do everything right there on code.org?
Exactly. Yeah. So those activities are right in code.org. They're in the code.org format. They're beautifully themed to Minecraft. So the kids immediately, are drawn to that. And then I think what I've seen, which was kind of neat, when they started with the code.org activities last year, I think for teachers that are still unsure of this whole Minecraft thing and what this game is, doing those activities, which is such an easy point of entry, gives them just this base understanding of the game, which is a great way for them to kind of, break the ice a little bit about that.
So, Neal, as we're going through our journey here, Minecraft started, as you said, in Sweden, I believe. Was that that was the right country?
Correct. Yep.
And at some point in time, Microsoft purchased, am I saying this the right way? Purchased Minecraft, and now from there, we have Minecraft Education Edition. Could you tell us a little bit about what is Microsoft's vision for Minecraft, and where has it gone recently, and where do you see it continuing to go?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. So there's two kind of schools of thought. I think there's definitely a amount of work that we've been doing with Minecraft Education Edition, which is very specifically targeted at schools and educators and students. And we've worked on features to enable some level of classroom management, to make it easier for students to take evidence out of the game and use that for formative assessment, and a variety of other things that we're doing now and hopefully will continue to do into the future. There's also just this general use of Minecraft in all of its flavors in education. And one of the things we're always quick to discuss with folks is, and Steve knows this when we do events and things like that, is it's very much the reverse of code.org. Hour of Code is so lightweight, and it's such a nice entry point because it doesn't care what browser you're on. It doesn't care what device you have. And one of the things I want to make sure we mention is also that not newly available, but we made it a little bit easier to see, is you can also download the Hour of Code experiences for Minecraft, both last year's and this year's. And so you don't even need internet access to be able to pull that off. And so it's a nice entry point for anybody. Education Edition is very specifically tailored for schools. But we also have folks that use Pocket Edition, for example. I visited a school where all they had was old iPads, and the students were building 10s and 15s and 20s and really kind of first and kindergarten age numeracy skills. And it was stuff that I used to do with Unifix cubes when I taught. And the only difference is they're modeling it on Minecraft because the teacher doesn't want and doesn't have the ability to have all of those manipulatives in the classroom. And so she has 4 iPads in one of the centers, and the students build their math work and they take a screenshot of it. And so you have that very, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask, are these the same games? I mean, depending on the device, can a kid log into an account and build their world no matter what these editions are? Or could you talk a little bit maybe about the differences between those editions?
Yeah, it is matrixed a bit. I would say that some of the versions play well with others. Education Edition is definitely the one with probably the most gates around it, and because student data, student privacy is a concern, we want to make sure that we're building a system where we've monitored all the code. It's closed enough that the students are going to be, one of the things for games and learning and games and education that as a former teacher is so important is we're not just throwing things out there to the community, because we know, especially on the administration side, we want to make sure that they're vetted and that people know that their student data is safe and secure. And so that's one of the things we focus on with Education Edition. However, there's some overlap with other versions of the game. For example, Steve and I could work on something in Pocket Edition and build a world. We can import that world later on into Education Edition. Education Edition, though, has some additional features that aren't, as we would say, backwards compatible. So matrixed is probably the right way to explain it without having a 2-hour podcast, because there are so many flavors of this thing. But we are consistently trying to work on making versions so compatible, which is challenging, right? With something that's grown so much, and the more platforms you make something available, the harder it is for everybody to be able to play together. But just over the past few years, the fact that, tonight when I go home, I have a 4-year-old and he can be on an iPhone. I have my daughter, she can be on an iPad and I can be on my Surface, and we can all play in the same world for home use. And then I could export that world and import it for school use into Education Edition the next day. It's a giant step forward in flexibility.
So a couple other questions I think that pop up when we're talking about Minecraft, and maybe I'll throw this one at Steve first, but how do I know if I'm winning the game?
That's a very interesting question, and I think there's definitely not a simple answer. The game itself, it's considered a sandbox game. So the environment is intended to be very open-ended, which is what is so appealing, I think, in education, is that you don't have, there's not just this win scenario. You probably could say that if you play through the game and get to the Ender Dragon and defeat it, that you would beat the game. But I don't know, Neal, do you know too many people who have even played it in such a way that was truly their goal?
Yeah, I've never beaten the Ender Dragon, so I'm embarrassed and happy, I guess, to say that as an employee of Minecraft, that I still have not achieved that goal. There's definitely a traditional, win state way to play, but I think, to Steve's point, the reason that Minecraft is so appealing is that it appeals to that need, I think, that a lot of us have nowadays, adults and kids, to not have everything be so polished and perfect and be about the points and be about who's best. So many things in video games today are about high score and leveling up, and there's a place for that. It's not bad, right. There's definitely a place for that. But Minecraft is this walk in and do whatever you want, and even for me, outside of work, like just playing with my kids, playing with my family on my own, just being able to not have any of that outside judgment and none of that I'm better than somebody or I'm worse than somebody. I'm just on my own path. Is really, it's very much education at its purest, right? And for me, I think that's what's most appealing, and trying to bring that more into schools is it is this opportunity to get back to the basics of learning at its core, which is, here's some goals I've set out in front of you. I'm around to help you and nudge you along that journey, but it's your journey.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say, right, not necessarily being a classroom teacher and knowing the burdens that teachers are under at this time, but it's just such a nice step in that direction.
But and even as the game goes, in terms of like a lot of personal goal setting without even necessarily knowing that you're going into it that way, like you start to want to create something, and then as you like kind of like with the computer programming type thing, if I want to build something that's going to be complicated because I am using Redstone and I get this thing to finally work, that's incredibly rewarding, and that might be the goals somebody sets. Another thing that I've found so incredible is the way that kids demonstrate what informal, the value and importance of informal learning, and how this game, I mean, I just love how, it did not come with a rule book or a manual, and it has more content about how to play this game out there, like Neal had mentioned before, whether it be YouTube or the wikis and things. So people are contributing to the knowledge base continually. So from like a constructivist standpoint, it's just remarkable.
Well,
and so I have kids that one of the things they do is they create tutorials to teach other people how to do things in the game. So yeah, I mean,
well, let's talk a little bit about that, because I find that there's two different kinds of people, right? Like, there's people, and I'll throw myself in, I don't know the first thing about it. When I start to play Minecraft, I either dig a hole and I fall through Minecraft, or I get eaten by sheep and I don't know where to go. And Steve and I have had these conversations. I get frustrated because then I look at what Steve's doing and I'm seeing roller coasters and diamond mines and towers and dragons, and I'm going, how do I get to there? Now, Steve, you're one of a few people that are in the world and are dedicated towards helping people. Tell us a little bit about the Minecraft Mentors program and how you might help somebody like me learn a little bit about how not to dig a hole towards the end of the world.
Right. Well, the mentor program, I mean, for me, it's been mostly about people who are, getting ready to get, to dip their toes in the pool and be able to talk them through, many aspects of the process, starting with just getting set up and getting the game running. But I will gladly and love taking people into the game and playing a little. But like I had started, like I mentioned before, I really like for people to see the beauty of how kids learn how to play this game. So wherever possible, I kind of try to put that back on the teachers and get them out there learning, from these resources. So if I could point people to resources and get them to kind of kickstart that learning, I think that's, what's really helpful. But yeah, it's definitely helpful as well to get in the game, and play with somebody and kind of guide them around or demo it for them. But the resource, the base of resources that is out there is just absolutely incredible. So once somebody gets to understand, hey, if I go to, there's a guy, Paul Soares, who created, a ton of YouTube videos on helping people, survive their first night and things like that. And when educators start to see that, if I go there and just like a kid would, I watch that video, I follow along, I do what they did, and I can do that too. I think that's pretty powerful. And actually, one of the first tips I give anybody too is to invite, 3 to 5 kids in before school, during lunch, after school. And I have never met a kid that didn't want to teach their teacher how to play Minecraft. So that's tremendous. And then what it does also, and this was very true for me, I went into this game, I'm a gamer, but I really did not know much about Minecraft. And I had some reservations myself about bringing this game in that I didn't really know yet, and thinking as a teacher, I'm supposed to know that, all this. And I had that faith in the kids and embraced their expertise. And it was the first time I really let go of that and truly saw the amazing power of that. So now my whole style of teaching has changed, to one where I believe that, I spend most of my days learning with and from my kids instead of teaching per se. So there's a lot of really neat things to take out of that.
Neal, can you talk a little bit about your interactions or your team's interactions with people like Steve, other MIEs, Microsoft Innovative Educators, and really just getting that educational community to help you shape the game that you're creating for classrooms?
Yeah, I can. So we actually are taking the mentor program and growing it quite a bit for 2017 and beyond. So we have a small group available today. We just publicized a few weeks ago, and I'll send it to you after this. We can send around the link for it as well. People can go to Playcraft Learn, our Twitter feed, and scroll down a little bit. They'll see it as well. We decided to grow the mentor group to about 50 individuals from around the world. Just as many that have been playing this for 4 to 5 years and just as many who've been playing it for 3 to 6 months as well. If you scroll through, you'll see, I can tell you when to stop as I'm kind of talking through it. And Steve actually gave a ton of feedback to me personally when we were deciding to grow this program, as did a few other educators, of, hey, I'm enjoying helping the community, but there's a lot of people that want to learn a lot of things. And it's a few more down. 2 more down. Let's see how good my timing is on it. I think it's right before the Hour of Code ones is the one. There we go. There's the Diamond Pickaxe. Oh, up a little bit. It's right there. If you look for the Diamond Pickaxe Global Mentor, there you go. So that application there will throw out a Word doc. It emails to our team directly. We'll be reviewing and selecting 50 individuals for 2017. And our goal is basically to have a wider base of expertise available to help the community. There's nothing more powerful than, I'm stuck in a hole, I don't know how to farm, I'm having trouble building a house, I'm stuck in another hole, than reaching out to somebody. Steve knows this as well as I do, that the power of the Twitter DM and just having that community informally available to each other is huge. I get tons of random questions about Minecraft that I can answer in 20 seconds that I know are going to unblock somebody else and be able to work on their day. And part of my job that I like the best is I get a random text message or an email from somebody who's trying to plan a lesson plan for their students on geometry or Egypt or storytelling or whatever. And if I can unblock them to being able to bring that learning experience to their kids, that's a day well spent as far as I'm concerned. And so the mentor population is essential to what we're doing with Minecraft, because it isn't like other products Microsoft offers, right? We all have some knowledge of what Word is, right? We know what a typewriter is. We have some, but to your point about Minecraft, you have no clue what this thing is outside of a t-shirt or a sticker until you really jump in and play. And the only reason I learned how to play was I was stuck on a city bus going to and from work every day, and I cracked open my phone and just sat there trying to get through my first night. And it's hard as an adult. We want the instruction manual, but you just have to get over it. And it's so valuable for bridging that gap between what our students' interests are and what our interests are.
So let's talk a little bit about this here. Let me see if we can do a little quick, 20 questions style. Can I play Minecraft on my iPhone?
Yes.
Can I play Minecraft on my Mac platform?
Yes.
Yes, multiple versions.
Can I play Minecraft on my non-Surface tablet Windows machine?
Yes.
Can I play Minecraft on a touch screen such as a Surface tablet?
Yes.
Can I play Minecraft on a Chromebook?
Ooh.
I'll let Steve answer that one.
But
with
I
some
think
creativity, I guess that's the right answer today.
Yeah, but I think so. That's a really interesting question, because as a teacher, in a school that has a gazillion Chromebooks, it's unfortunate that it's just not available, and it's the reasons are I'm sure pretty complicated. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Neal, on a very positive note, I believe the Chromebooks, like the newer Chromebooks, are kind of moving their operating system a little away from Chrome OS to like an Android operating system with the Google Play Store. So if that becomes the next wave of Chromebooks to show up in schools, then the answer becomes yes.
Am
I right?
Yeah, I can share very, very much nothing officially, and then chuckle, I guess. I can say that, as Steve said, we're very excited at the proliferation of Android apps on Chromebooks. It definitely provides a little bit of a better path for being able to make that a reality. And we're well aware. I'm an educator first and foremost, regardless of what my job is. And for me, seeing all of the Chromebooks out there and knowing that those students aren't able to take advantage of Minecraft is something that, in my current role, I try to voice Steve and other educators' voices around to our team, and that's a message that we've tried to send loud and clear: is we need to figure out how to make this happen.
Note to self: ask Neal off camera about all these little things he's not telling us right now. But
on the, not that it's the answer everybody wants to hear, whatever, but just to be clear, when it comes to the code.org activities, like those 2 Minecraft themed activities, those you absolutely can do on a Chromebook.
There you go. That's the answer I was looking for.
One of the other hour of code things I wanted to mention that Steve knows this full well, but it's not really, we haven't highlighted it, I think, as well as we should as a team, is the last few levels of both of our hour of code experiences, of the 2015 flavor adventure and the designer one from 2016, are very open-ended. So for example, the last level of the previous year's ones in 2015, you can build whatever you want, but not only that, we had this whole series of lessons we were playing around with students where student A can build, let's say, a checkerboard on their Minecraft world, and student B can try to figure out the code that it must have taken to generate that checkerboard. And you could take those activities and go well beyond an hour. And so our teams tried really hard, even though it's labeled hour of code, to provide opportunities in that. And this year's version and this year's flavor has mini games and activities that you can do along with it. So I always want to make sure we highlight that it's not an hour of code and then that's it. It's an hour of code, and then figure out how to leverage the work that we've done on both of those versions, both last year's and this year's, and you can take it well beyond and create weeks of curriculum for your students.
So let's play the hypothetical game. Let's hypothetically assume that you're a non-Minecraft person, and tomorrow morning you're going into a middle school to train teachers how to use the hour of code tutorials on code.org. Do you have to know anything, or can literally any teacher next week just turn on code.org and say, kids, go at it?
If I could answer that one, I mean,
please.
Just code.org does a phenomenal job, with these partnerships, and everything has a video that guides you through it. So to answer your question, I think it's just amazing for teachers. The idea behind the hour of code too is that it should be easy to turnkey, and you can walk into the classroom. I would always suggest to a teacher to spend the hour yourself, just familiarizing yourself like you would with any lesson. But it's not gonna, you don't need to know anything about Minecraft for sure, and you don't even need to know about programming to guide kids through the hour of code activities.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Especially as we're getting ready for, school districts around the world are getting ready to do Hour of Code next week. Looking forward to that. Steven, I want to get into some resources here, but just to kind of go over some things here, we're talking today to, Steve, why don't you do a quick reintroduction here, because it's been a while.
Of myself?
Of our wonderful guest as well.
Of our guest, yeah. Well, so I'll introduce myself real quick, but I teach game design and development at William Adam Middle School in Basking Ridge, and I use Minecraft extensively as a game design engine, which is a very interesting thing because I don't like many of the other things that have been done in the game, I don't think it was put out intentionally for that purpose. But our wonderful guest, Neal Manegold, works for the Minecraft education team as the senior. What was that other word?
I just always do the voice of the teacher, right? Like the reason I'm on the team is I taught in California and Washington for a decade. I worked on some math curriculum for a while and did some other things. And my role on our team is for Steve and the teachers out there in the community that have been using Minecraft for a while, and the other folks that are brand new, to have a voice of the educator on our staff every day who is making sure we're lobbying for what real teachers and real students need. And our team is exceptionally good at building amazing games, but it's different building a game for a classroom and taking a version and laying the right features on top of that. And so We want to make sure we're building for our audience, not just building the best game, but building the best game and then features for learning that help empower teachers and students alike.
And if I could add to that from from the teacher standpoint, I was involved, in the beta testing of the Education Edition, and there was so much dialogue among the teachers that were involved, and I give Neal, a ton of credit for being like right in the thick of it, and with the teachers and hearing everything, and perhaps even at times feeling a little like a punching bag. I'm not sure, but but just right there, like he understood everything and understood the value of the educator input. And a lot of the other work that I do with, working with developers and educators, I'm always looking for these relationships and opportunities and companies that do that in this way. So it was so refreshing to be part of that, and really working that closely with Neal and the team. So it's an understatement for him to even say the voice of the educator, because it's so true, and that's the value that I personally give to that is off the chart. So I kudos to you, Neal, on that.
Well, let's take a look at some of these things here and see if we can, again, Steve, if you want to take over a little bit here and we can go some deep dive stuff here. What is the craziest thing that you've ever seen built in Minecraft where even you guys have gone, dude, I would have never have thought that somebody could do that? What is it? How'd they do it? I mean, I remember, Steve, you showed me somebody, what was it? No, it was when I was out in Redmond at Microsoft. They showed us the human body, and we were flying through a cadaver.
Yeah, Adam.
That was like, whoa! And I'm sitting here like running from sheep, and somebody's building that. What is the craziest thing you guys have ever seen?
The Adam and Dragnaz, their work is tremendous. But one thing that also sticks out to me is Neuro and River. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but check them out on YouTube and check out the Beetlejuice roller coaster and some of the other roller coasters that they created, because what it does is it merges not only the potential of what you can do technically in Minecraft, but as an art form as well. And the music they've just done some amazing things. There's so many things. There's EK Theater. That's a group that this guy, Eddie Kim, are you familiar with them even, Neal? Because they do this really cool stuff. They'll create these actual, theatrical productions that take place in games, and they use a variety of games. And they've done some things that I've seen with Minecraft where you literally have, it's like 5 people controlling the computers, one controlling the camera, one, the actors and actresses in, the voice actors, and they're all there live. And it's just, so like the creativity that people show in how they translate this game to what they want is crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting when people talk about like the most crazy things you've seen in Minecraft. I'm always drawn to. I think I'm a sucker for the teacher stuff, so I'm always drawn to the things where I can see students making connections in their work, even if it seems simple to us as adults. And my background's mathematics. So when I see students doing things mathematically, but not understanding, they haven't formalized anything, but they're able to do it. So I've seen kindergartners and first graders building walls and understanding multiplication without having any idea how to spell the word multiplication or caring at all what that means. But they're able to go, I'll ask a child, I'll say, how did you know how many blocks? Well, I knew it was 30 because it's 6 and 5. And I'll just look at them. I'll be like, do you know what 6 times 5 is? And he'll look at me like, I have no idea what the heck you're talking about. And that kind of stuff to me is the most appealing. It's that level of creative design. Steve knows this story. I always tell a story of my son he's a crazy man. He probably always will be. I love him to death. He loves to play the drums, and we had the probably not smart idea to buy him his own little set of drums. And I showed him a little bit of Redstone, and in Redstone we have something called note blocks. And with note blocks, you can make percussion, and you can connect the pieces of percussion to make, a snare drum combination or a bass drum combination. And I watched him sit with my laptop and sit with a drum set and try to figure out if he could recreate the beats that he was making in Minecraft on the real drum, and then the vice versa. And I don't ever think of my child as any different than any other 4-year-old on the planet. It just happens to be his interest is percussion. And there's some other child out there and their interest happens to be, to Steve's point, creative and theater design. We've seen ones where students build the entire working theater and they film from the perspective of the seats, and the students perform Shakespeare plays on stage. And for me, that's where it's so cool to watch students who have interests that are different than their classmates, which is totally normal as a parent, but as a teacher is like the hardest thing for us to figure out how to manage. And then to give them this platform where I used to have 32 students in my class and they say, well, what can we do with this? And I say, whatever you want. To them, it's just dumbfounding, right? Like it's the ultimate differentiation tool where I can say, today we're going to focus this week on ancient Egypt. Here are the topics I'd like you to demonstrate. Go. I even talked to a teacher earlier this week, and he lets his students vote on the one time they get to use Minecraft each month because they have such limited computer lab time. And so the students vote on what they think the lesson or the experiment or the unit is that would be most applicable to Minecraft, and they go down the road. That was super cool.
I love those stories.
It brings the students into the planning process and the design thinking that goes into the curriculum. So, but yeah, to the amazing build side, I mean, I work in our office, so we have people in our office that get paid a salary to play Minecraft all day. So they do some pretty amazing things.
Well, I wanted to flip the similar question, but a little bit differently here, and you guys started to hit on it a little bit. Take off the educator hat. What have you seen Minecraft do for your own children? And I know you had given me a little bit of that, but what have you seen out of your kids? I was totally with you as a music teacher. I was with you completely on that drum thing until you said 4 years old, and that one got me because Steve knows I have 3-year-old triplets here. I couldn't imagine them. I don't know. How do I start them playing Minecraft? When do I start them playing Minecraft? But 4 years old, that's amazing.
It's so what you just asked is a good one for me as well. So my daughter Layla, my wife got a lot of little bits for school, and Layla was pretty excited about those. And then I heard that there was a mod for Minecraft where you could use the little bits and the game, and you could do things with the little bits like press a button and the door would open in the game, or you could stand on a pressure plate in the game and it would light a real LED light in the real world. So that piqued her interest. So we started playing around, and that led to her doing a YouTube video, walkthrough of some of the things you could do in it, which was really, ended up being quite well done in terms of her animated self doing the YouTube video. But then we decided, it was actually, I tell this story a lot. My wife and I wanted to go to an ed camp, and in order to go, we needed Layla to go with us. So we asked Layla if she would like to go to ed camp, and she said no. And I said, well, would you like to go and maybe we could lead a session at the ed camp? And she immediately said yes. So then she and I, got together and started planning, how we could engage other educators with this Bitcraft thing. And that led us to presenting at other things. So she and I have been out presenting at a number of conferences. We even have a proposal in that I hope they accept at ISTE. But getting her out there and being excited about presenting, she's really loving, So it was like a way for her to kind of, and it goes back to that kind of expertise thing. It's like when she could become proficient enough at this that she could then share that with adults primarily, because it's usually educators that we're speaking to. That's really opened, a neat experience for her and for she and I to participate together. So that's been really awesome.
And I would say for me, Steve, my kids are only able to play when they play together. So I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and almost always, unless one of them is out and I'm subbing in for them, it's just about them working together. And my own history, I'm an only child, so I have no concept of dealing with siblings. So I turn to my wife, who's much more skilled in everything than I am, and say, what on earth am I like? It's challenging for me as a parent to think through having siblings because I've never experienced that. And my kids play Minecraft together on multiple devices, and Sometimes they're just free building in their own space. Sometimes they're building together. Sometimes my son is asking my daughter for help. Sometimes my son is project managing my daughter's build. It varies. But for me, that's one of the value props that I hate saying that it comes for free with Minecraft, but it kind of does. When you get students building and creating together, they're doing so much debating and arguing and discussing and working out. It's all of that stuff that when I'm now able to take a step back from my own teaching practice, I wish I had integrated more into my own teaching, is doing more debating and discussing all of these things I do day in and day out in my job that I realized my formal schooling didn't do as much of as it should. Minecraft is yet another way to bring those, some people call them soft skills, which is such a tough term for those, but bringing those skills in, Steve's class, I'm sure, is like this, but one of the first classes I visited, it was so loud in there, and the teacher pulled me aside, and I asked her, I'm like, it's so loud in here, how do you manage? And she said, why don't you walk over and listen to the conversation the students are having? And they were having this incredibly loud but poignant conversation about whether they would use clay blocks or stone blocks because of the aesthetics. They were building our towns. They were building the sets from our town, and they were debating over what would be more authentic for the time period. And once I stopped worrying about the decibel level and started listening to what the conversations were that the students were having, it was really amazing. And I do see that echoed at home. And that's what I tell most parents. I say, I think in my own opinion, I always think 4.5 is a good time to start something like Minecraft, when mouse and keyboard is possibly coming into play, but they can use a touch device, but not doing it by themselves. I'm a big fan of games and technology never being solitary unless they absolutely have to be. And Minecraft is built to be collaborative.
So I was listening to the radio today, and they were doing an interview with John Bon Jovi, who was talking about his kids and how his older kids know that he's this mega rock star, but his younger teenage kids don't really get the concept that he is John Bon Jovi. Neal, do your kids understand that when they're playing Minecraft, like, you're the guy that makes Minecraft and daddy gets to build that? Do they know that? Do you talk to them about that? Do they have any idea? Or do they just like look at a game, throw it aside, and you're like, dude, I spent 24 hours building this thing? Or
yeah,
do they get it?
My kids don't think of it like that. It was actually pretty funny because the company that I worked at prior, I wrote math curriculum for a software company, and my daughter used that curriculum in her day in and day out. And I would sit there and go, oh my gosh, I wrote this lesson, and here's my daughter and my classmates working on it. And it's, as an adult, it's super powerful, like to think that you're having that kind of an impact. The kids don't care. All the kids want to know is when I come, I don't know if you guys have this on the East Coast, but on the West Coast, we have this Watchdogs program to bring more dads into schools and volunteer. And I'm already volunteering, so I'm in there a lot. And the kids just want to know if you have stickers. Like, they think it's cool that you work at Minecraft. They don't understand, I'm not a software engineer. I work on the curriculum side of things, so I instantly become less cool, right? They want the people that actually program the features.
You want the people in the Matrix.
Yeah, I think my kids just have a hard time, and I think most kids do, separating my role relative to them. I saw a student the other day I had that just graduated high school, and he doesn't look at me as a Minecraft employee or anything else. He looks at me as Mr. Manegold that gave him a hard time because he couldn't write a complete paragraph, and we worked through it over a year, right? Like, the kids have that thought process the same way, I'm sure, all three of us, right? When we were kids, I didn't realize my teachers had social lives, right? Or that they existed outside the school. I thought they were magical beings that just kind of vanished. And if I saw them at the supermarket, I freaked out.
I think right now I'm freaking out because I'm realizing that my kids have social lives, and it's right there on Facebook that we can see them doing those things.
That's a whole nother
anyway
for another day.
All right. Back to Minecrafts here. Just kind of in wrapping this up, Steve, every time you and I get together for a Minecraft show, we always end by saying, and let's do another one. And Neal, look, obviously, thank you so much for coming on today to talk about not only Hour of Code, but Minecraft EDU and where we're going from here. I would love to have you guys back on, and maybe we can talk more about the newly recreated Minecraft Mentors program as you guys, mold that a little bit here. And before we really sign off here, Steve, I want to kind of throw it at you to kind of finalize where we are with things. Could you talk to us a little bit about your role as an MIE one of the questions that I always ask at the end of our MIE shows is, what does the MIE program mean to you? Could you just talk a little bit about the program and how it works, and really what has it provided for you, and what can you provide to it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the MIE, the Microsoft Innovator Educator program, has been incredible in terms of community first. For me, it's kind of neat when everything that I do is about, finding like-minded people, right? And the MIE expert community is all people that share similar passions. I was super excited that, when I applied, I was kind of like, hey, the main product I'm really, really focusing on is Minecraft. And I didn't know if that was at the time, gonna, I guess cut it or what have you, because Minecraft was new to Microsoft at the time. But it's been neat to like be connected with so many Minecraft educators. And then what I've also noticed is that so many in the MIE community are very interested in Minecraft, but because I have that side that's my focus, it has something that I can offer to them, and there are plenty of MIEs that have all of the other skill sets that and product knowledge that I don't have. So you've definitely got that. But one of the things I found right away, which was kind of neat, is I found that I had an inclination to want to be connected with anybody I knew that was an MIE expert on social media, because I felt like we had this, kind of common bond, by being part of that program. And Microsoft does a really fine job with that in terms of, I'm involved with some other like ambassador type programs, and the MIE program definitely values educators and demonstrates that value. And, at ISTE last year, many of us were able to be brought together, to participate in their summit and things like that. So it really is a community that that there are opportunities to be very involved in, and I value that, greatly.
I love the stories, and I always love asking MIEs what is their main thing that they take away from the program. And honestly, Steve, I've done 8 of these shows already. To a T, everyone says the word community first. And family and things like that. So I want to just kind of end it there and say, if you're out there listening and you're interested in joining the MIE program, you can check out all of our shows over on teachercast.net/MIE Spotlight. The entire podcasting series is there. You can check them out, subscribe, and of course over there we have links to learn more about the MIE program. Of course, you can go over to the Microsoft community over at education.microsoft.com and check out everything going on there with the program. Guys, I want to say thank you so much. Let's definitely do this again as the program expands and as as Minecraft just continues to totally dominate everybody. Neal, I'm going to ask you off camera here for all the links, everything that we can do to make sure that the show notes here are fantastic. Where can we go to find out more resources? And lastly, where can we go to reach out to you, Neal, for help on what to do with stray sheep?
So our education site is education.minecraft.net, which is basically everything that we offer. Has everything from, I think we just added our 50th lesson plan, which is huge for us moving forward. So that has lesson plans and trainings, everything focused specifically on Minecraft. To follow our team on Twitter is PlayCraftLearn. Also, if you go to our site on the top right, you can see the Twitter icon right there: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of our social friends. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's just Neal Manegold. I'm not very creative with my naming, so you feel free to follow me on there, and Steve knows and other people do in the community. Hashtag MinecraftEDU is the easiest way to get assistance through social media with Minecraft. Ask a question. I'm on there far more than I should be. I should be sleeping. Steve is exactly the same. And we have enough folks around the world that no matter your time zone, you're always going to find somebody able to help you. And to echo Steve's last point, it really is both the MIE program and the Minecraft community and things like that. It really is kind of building a professional learning community with like-minded interests. And when he was there with everybody else at ISTE, to see 100 MIEs in a room all focused on the same ideas, and to know the scale and the impact that they all have out there for kids, it's really cool for me to see as an educator and a parent, to know I'm a big fan of any educators that are willing to give over and above their regular school day and extend their practice and deepen their professional interest. And the MAE program definitely has that in spades. So it's been really cool to be a part of.
Steve, where can we go to find out more about the great things that are happening in your classrooms?
Definitely follow, Twitter. I broadcast everything that's happening in my classroom at Mr. Mr_Isaacs, ISAACS. I have a blog as well called gamesandlearning1.blogspot.com, and I put a lot up there. I would say those are the places for me. But definitely Twitter. I'm known to be around on Twitter occasionally.
Very, very cool. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your passions about Minecraft with us. It is still Minecraft, right? MINE.
It is for now. We'll try not to switch it on you before the next time.
All right, because if I need to get Minecraft, I don't know, anything like that. Minecrafters, anything. Guys, thank you so much for spending time with us today. This is episode 142 of the TeacherCast Educational Podcast. Thank you guys so much for making TeacherCast your home for professional development. Of course, we hope that you subscribe to this and all of our shows over on teachercast.net/audio and teachercast.net/video. And if you're interested in this stuff, I can't say enough, check out our MIE Spotlight series. You can find all the information on teachercast.net/MIE Spotlight, where you can find and subscribe to all of our shows. On behalf of everybody here on the TeacherCast Educational Broadcasting Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.